Vice President Mike Pence has pressured Egypt's leader over religious freedom and attacks on Christians. Criminal aliens are stupid enough to bite the hand that's been feeding them. President Trump heads to Davos, Switzerland to confront the globalist beast head-on. And a woman petitions a judge to issue an injunction against a penis. My name's Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, and the book Riell Truth, Stay Angry. And, of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number, 877-254-7524. My friends, welcome back. Item from Christian Today. Vice President Mike Pence pressured Egypt's leader over religious freedom and attacks on Christians on Saturday as the pair met in the first leg of a three-country tour of the Middle East. Pence also told President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi the United States would support a two-state solution for Israelis and Palestinians if the two sides agreed to it. The pair discussed efforts to combat terrorism, Pence told reporters, particularly mentioning attacks on Coptic Christians as well as on mosques. They also discussed the importance of religious freedom, a great priority for the people of the United States, Pence said. He urged President al-Sisi on his commitment to promote religious diversity and the respect for all religious viewpoints here in Egypt, unquote. Mr. Vice President, with all respect, good luck. Muslims have never had tolerance for other religions. The most they will do, is declare that Christians and Jews are second-class citizens who have to pay the jizya tax, who have to step into the gutter when a Muslim walks by, whose buildings cannot be higher than the mosque in the city, and on and on and on. So what Pence is doing in the Middle East is good, and it's laudable, and it's to his credit. But a leopard doesn't lose its spots. And Islam doesn't change just because the current administration wants it to. Islam has been for 14 centuries, will be for as long as it exists. So while the meeting with al-Sisi probably looks like a really good photo op, I have no doubt President Trump realizes he's not going to get any real, meaningful cooperation from the Muslim world. It's Wednesday. It's Riell Truth. My friends, we'll be right back.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution. American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown reminds parents, keep an eye on your child while shopping. Children tend to stray or become lost. This poses an opportunity for a would-be abductor. Please make every effort to keep track of your little one at all times. If you have information regarding a lost child, call local authorities at once. This message is from American Window Tinting Incorporated in Franktown. For residential or commercial window tinting, call 303-263-4228. Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. Especially Piccolo's Restaurant in Denver. It's not only the best in town in America, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
Folks, welcome back to Riell Truth. I am Howard Riell, your host, and the hits just keep on coming. Let's go through some news. Item from the American Mirror. Illegal immigrants are biting the only hand willing to feed them. Months after crashing a Nancy Pelosi press conference and causing her to lash out, DACA defenders converged on Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's New York City home and protested what they believe is his lack of intestinal fortitude for their cause. If Chuck won't let us dream, we won't let him sleep, they chanted, drumming on 5-gallon buckets. Say it loud, say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here, they continued as the mob gathered around his townhouse. If we don't get it, shut it down, they yelled outside the house. The mob, demanding to be Americans, chanted in Spanish, stop! If only they were demanding to be Americans. They're not. They're demanding to be whatever they already are, but living here in America and benefiting from the largesse of American taxpayers. We've had a very, very disturbing trend over the past 4 or 5 decades, my friends. People come to America with no intention of assimilating. People don't want to be American. They want to come to America and get all the fantastic things that America offers. One little problem. You have to pay for what you get in this country. And these people who are streaming here from all over the world have no intention of paying. The vast majority of them come with no education, no skills, broken English, if that, many times no English. They go right to the welfare roll. So tell me, how does it benefit any country to import poor people? Isn't it kind of like tossing a drowning man an anchor? So these people are in the streets yelling at Chuck Schumer. Now think about this. Chuck Schumer, we know, is an animal. But he's been out there fighting on behalf of these dreamers, so-called dreamers, fighting on their behalf against the well-being of the American people, which is why Chuck Schumer is headed to hell one day. But think about that. Chuck Schumer has given the middle finger to Americans while extending the hand to the illegals. And the illegals are outside his house screaming at him. So postulate along with me. If this is the kind of people who are coming here, if these are the illegals, if these are the dreamers, so to speak, the DACA children, although they're in their late 20s and 30s, are these the kind of people we want here? People who are angry? People who are ungrateful? People who threaten and carry out acts of violence? People who bite the hand that feed them? Because after all, they're asking America, basically, metaphorically, to feed them. Great, does that mean that I'm going to have my hand bitten by these people if and when they get legalized? As a matter of fact, I would say they're making the case for the opposite side. They're making the case for people like me who say if you're here illegally, you've got to go. Period. Brought here as children, not my problem. Had no say in the matter, not my problem. You feeling angry? Good. Go to your parents who broke the law and brought you here illegally and sound off. Tell your parents how angry you are. Don't tell me. I'm not interested. Don't expect me to pay your way through life. Not going to happen. Donald Trump has said many times he wants to build a wall, but a wall with a door through which people may come here legally. Do that and claim your piece of the pie. But if you're just going to rant and rave and protest and insult and vent your anger, I cordially invite you to get the hell out of this country, go back home and bless them with your lack of gratitude. Item from the New York Times, Dateline Davos, Switzerland. By any measure, he made a lot of money, the kid from Queens. Maybe not as much as he boasted, but a fortune. And yet the chip on his shoulder was at least as big as his bank account. Never accepted, never respected, he remained on the outside, pressing his nose against the window of the club of elites he both revered and resented. So when President Trump arrives in this snowy mountaintop resort where the financial titans mingle with heads of state in an annual Saturnalia of capitalism, it may feel like a moment of vindication. Never invited when he was merely a businessman, Mr. Trump will arrive on Thursday as leader of the world's last superpower, commanding attention if not admiration. Whatever else, he cannot be ignored now. Part of him will feel the resentment that has long smoldered within, and part will revel in the fact that he's the president and no one else is, said Michael D'Antonio, a Trump biographer. Considering his tendency to say or tweet whatever comes to mind, we might expect both Trumps, the testy one and the triumphant one, to appear. We may even see and hear him toggle between the two, uncertain if he's superior or inferior. Mr. Trump's decision to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos, something American presidents generally avoid lest they look out of touch hanging out with the jet-setting crowd, sets the stage for one of the most intriguing encounters of his year-old presidency. Not only will he finally crash the party that would not have him, he'll also bring his protectionist, America First message to the ground zero of globalization, addressing the very people he has cast as the villains of his political narrative. Unquote. My friends, that may be the way the Holy New York Times frames it. But this show is called Real Truth for a reason, because now I'm going to give you the real truth. Those globalists in Davos, whom the Times says Trump has been putting in the role of bad guy, they are bad guy. Those are the globalists, those are the elite. Those are the people who would love nothing so much as a weakened, dying America. America on the ropes. Boy, Barack Obama left us after 8 years. They want a world structure atop of which they would sit. They don't want a prosperous America. They don't want an independent and strong America. Trump knows this. If you think he's got the swamp in D.C., and he does, this is the Temple Mount of the swamp. This is the worldwide headquarters of the swamp. These are the swampsters par excellence. And he's going there saying, you want to make a deal? Let's make a deal, because thus far I've had my way with you. Way to go, Mr. President. Let's take a break and we'll be back. More Real Truth.
Riell Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power. We have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom tailored capabilities of modifying emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design systems, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com.
The Lord remains the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America's News Network.
All right, my friends, apropos to the whole Dreamer, Chuck Schumer question, why are the Democrats fighting against Americans in favor of illegal foreigners? Hell of a question, right? It may be the question of our time. Ann Coulter on the Mark Simone Show earlier today. Go.
Well, Ann Coulter, the best-selling author, In Trump We Trust. That's her latest book. If you haven't got it, it's a big bestseller. In Trump We Trust. You follow her on Twitter and, of course, Facebook and now Instagram. And go to AnnCoulter.com. You can get her new column there. Ann Coulter, how you doing?
Fine, thanks. I miss being in your studio with you.
Yes, it's nice here, isn't it?
It's very nice. Most radio studios are so crappy.
Yeah, tell everybody, we're not one of these, every radio station you go to now, there's like 50 desks and only 2 people left working there. Here there's a million people.
Yes, and very sleek and modern.
Yes, and then the president tonight is going to Davos, Switzerland to be with these swamp people, these globalists. These open borders people. What do you think?
You can imagine how much I love that. Mark Simone.
Well, maybe he'll go tell them off nicely.
I don't know, based on recent experience, he'll be coming out to reduce the carried interest loophole even more.
Oh, please. He did a good job on the Democrats on the shutdown. He stood up to them.
He did, but though I do think the media narrative is completely wrong on this. I do give Trump credit on this, but if the shutdown had been on anything else, it would have been the usual pattern. You and I have been watching this for, I don't know, decades now. Whenever there's a shutdown, it doesn't matter if it's Republican Congress, Democrat president, Democrat Congress. Whenever there is a government shutdown, Republicans get blamed. Democrats are, I suppose they claim there's some logic to this that, well, but Republicans are against big government. Well, you know, for one thing, so are liberals. I noticed that whenever there's a government shutdown, you know the only government workers we hear about? The military. It's as if that's all our streams down libertarian-like government is doing for us. So apparently those are the only ones they consider worth defending. But for the Democrats to shut down the government in order to demand amnesty, which has been thoroughly, stoutly rejected by the American people every time they've been allowed to vote for 20 years now. I mean, this goes back to Proposition 187 in California in 1996. That was a proposition that would deny illegal aliens government benefits. It was overwhelmingly supported by every demographic except Hispanics, and they voted for it by more than 30%. I think a majority of blacks, a majority of whites, a majority of Asians. Pete Wilson was losing his re-election bid as governor. He was way down in the polls. None of the predictions would have had him winning. He suddenly comes, by supporting Proposition 187, comes back to a crushing win. Last time Republicans could win in California, but then, of course, the courts got a hold of it. And a court decided that a proposition voted on by the people was unconstitutional. It was an utterly lawless ruling out of California, but Gray Davis got elected and didn't appeal it. That's why California is in the state it's now, running like a top. But there have been initiatives in state after state since then. The Bush, McCain, Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, all these traitors have conspired to sneak through amnesties, full amnesties, as Lindsey Graham's bipartisan deal is, in the dark of night, at least twice. It cost Bush and to the Republicans that 2006 midterm election when Democrats swept in. As I pointed out in Adios America polls at the time showed it was Bush's push for amnesty that voters were furious about. The Iraq War in 2006 was more popular than Bush's push for amnesty. So it's been shut down. It's destroyed the careers of nearly a dozen Republicans, the ones I just mentioned. I'll throw in Jeb Bush. Neither a Democratic Congress nor a Republican Congress have been able to pass even this precious alleged relatively narrow amnesty for dreamers, not when Obama had both houses of Congress and the presidency. I saw some liberal on TV saying, oh no, it was just because he had more urgent concerns dealing with the economy. Well, again, for one thing, according to them, dumping millions and millions of low-wage workers on the country is fantastic for the economy.
Well, it is for the lobbyists and the donors and the country.
But number two, I'm sorry, no, that's BS. He wasn't going to start with something that was as even more unpopular than Obamacare. And the Republicans got control of Congress. They couldn't pass it. That's why Obama, though there have been initiatives in state after state, Montana, Washington State, states you wouldn't even expect it, similar, Arizona, of course, places you wouldn't even expect, always. Whatever the anti-immigration position is, that side always wins overwhelmingly, and then the media turn around and say, oh no, but we have these phony polls showing that Americans love amnesty. I mean, we elected Donald Trump. Lindsey Graham got 0.00% of the vote. Donald Trump got at least enough of the vote to be made president. Every time Americans go to the polls, whenever they're allowed to actually vote on immigration, however you phrase it, whatever the question is, they want less immigration. So for the Democrats to shut down the government until illegal aliens are given amnesty, that's why Republicans won the shutdown fight, and it lasted about 48 hours.
My friends, it is breathtaking in its utter stupidity, and it shows you just exactly how far out of touch the Democrats are with America. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and their ilk thought that somehow Americans would sweep to their side and get behind them for those poor dreamers. Not happening. Americans do not want their country turned into the third world. It's just that simple. We're willing to have people come here legally if it's merit-based and they bring something to the table and they contribute to our society and our economy. But bringing in people who largely have no skills, maybe not even speaking English, no education, who are instantly going to become burdens, not here. Lots of countries to choose from. Pick one. Let's go back to the
Also, a lot of voters were watching Chuck Schumer. How do you say that?
I'll forget about over you. How about the fact that for decades, the Veterans Administration, especially the Veterans Hospitals, have been deplorable, have been horrible. Where was Chuck Schumer weeping at that? Where was Chuck Schumer and the fact that all of our trade deals put us at a major deficit, that we were the saps of the planet Earth? Where were Chuck Schumer's tears over that? Schumer is a phony and a piece of trash. He's trying to get more power for the Democrats, and that's where his concern ends. This is an especially piquant message for the state of Colorado, which, as I may have mentioned once or twice, went for Hillary in the last election. Colorado, you've got a lot of tshuva to do, a lot of repentance, a lot of mea culpas for going for Hillary. So learn from this. Chuck Schumer is the head of the Democratic Party, and he doesn't give a rat's ass for you. Why aren't Democrats fighting for Americans? Democrats look at Americans with disdain. Democrats are not going to fight for America. Democrats will use America to implement their warped funhouse mirror of a vision of what America should be. They'll use Americans to gain power and money. And if you want to know what kind of Americans they'll use, go to YouTube and look at the videos of those pinheads at the Jacob Javits Center in Manhattan weeping on election night. Weeping! Because Hillary Clinton, who parenthetically I'll mention, is a lying, dishonest, sleazy, inept fool, didn't become president. Those are the useful idiots that the Democratic Party counts on.
But you gotta stop with this word dreamer.
My friends, you don't have to call them dreamers and you don't have to call them nightmares. Just call them exactly what they literally are. Criminals. They are here without permission. What if they were, oh, I don't know, in your living room without permission? Well, you would call the police and the police would remove them. If they were in your bedroom without permission, the police would come and remove them. Well, they're here in the country without permission. They need to be removed. The logic is overwhelming. Good. Now try and sell it to Democratic voters.
The person's still in another country.
And by the way, my friends, I happen to have a personal friend, a couple of friends, husband and wife, 3 kids, came here from England. Now, I acknowledge they're at a major deficit because they're not Latino or black. They're plain old white people. God help them. He is a major league professional. So is she. They came here 4 years ago. They're still following the paper trail, trying to become citizens. I said to them, you're crazy. You should have just come to Mexico and sneaked across the border. People would have been showering you with driver's licenses, voter registration cards, welfare checks, you name it. Instead, they came here legally. They're working. They're paying taxes. They are fantastic people. Do you think when he was president, Barack Obama cared about them at all? Do you think if Hillary Clinton, God forbid, had become president, that she would care about them at all? You think she would care about you? If you do, you're not thinking.
Yeah, or the Americans who hope their children would grow up and, have happy lives and not be murdered their dream is
All right, we're not going to get into that. And I'm not going to call anybody a dreamer or a nightmare. I'm very literal in the language I use. I'm a journalist, after all. The people are criminals. Now, should they be arrested? No, because it's true. They didn't have a choice in coming here. But now that they're grown-ups, they can leave. Item from Breitbart. Actor-producer Gina Rodriguez slammed the 2018 Academy Award nominations and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for failing to nominate a single Latin actor this year. How I feel about the Oscars this morning and the lack of Latinos, she tweeted, quoting veteran actress Viola Davis. The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity. Viola Davis, unquote. Well, that's a lot of crap. It's not true, and it makes me wonder about the IQs of Gina Rodriguez and Viola Davis. Viola Davis, by the way, who is a multi-millionaire actress, if only she'd had opportunity. My friends, it is a truism. There is no country in the solar system, perhaps in the entire galaxy, where there is more opportunity for people. And when I say people, okay, you can include women. So when these high and mighty Hollywood types, liberals all, get a microphone jammed in front of their faces, they invariably spout brainless nonsense. Oh, man. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I got more video for you, more commentary, more of everything you love. After all, this is Riell Truth. We'll be back.
Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Some tailored capabilities is monitoring emergency lighting all the way to commercial scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design systems, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld His glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of Him and cried out, saying, This was He of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for He was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
All right, my friends, the phones are ringing off the hook. People are screaming, Riell, we want to hear about the secret society. Okay, never let it be said that I don't cater to my listeners. Here's a guy you may have heard of. His name is Rush Limbaugh. It's a weird name, I know, but here he is talking about the secret society. All right, you happy? Go.
I am not surprised at all, ladies and gentlemen. There is nothing about any of this. The so-called investigation into Trump colluding with Russia. I'm not surprised there's a secret society within the establishment that was designed to get rid of Trump, to deny Trump the election. We were never supposed to know any of this because Hillary was going to win. And if Hillary put up one vote, I would know. None is negative. No one would know any of this. Hillary went to New Jersey with a bill of lading.
All right, Rush, perhaps that interests you. It doesn't interest me. What does interest me is this whole immigration question, which the entire world is grappling with. Here's an item from CNBC.com. German leader Angela Merkel, said that multilateralism was under threat and that protectionism is not the answer to the world's problems. Frankly speaking, the country I have the honor to represent and where I am chancellor has difficulties, she said, and polarization is something that we see in our country as well, which we haven't had for decades. She attributed increasing populism and polarization to both the Eurozone crisis and migration crisis seen in Europe over the last few years following an influx of refugees, but said Germany would not shrink from the world stage. Quote, Germany wishes to be a country that lends its contribution in the future to solve the problems of the world together. We think that shutting ourselves off and isolating ourselves will not lead us to a good future. Protectionism is not the proper answer, unquote. Angela, my dear, you could not be more bass-ackwards. In the face of a swarm of millions of third world savages who will not tolerate other religions, other cultures, who use violence to make that point, who will never assimilate, who are aggressive and have always been aggressive. In a case like that, protectionism is exactly and precisely the right medicine. Exhibit A, Germany. Remember New Year's Eve a couple of years ago? Muslims running through the streets, sexually assaulting German women. I realize the American memory only goes back about 6 or 7 minutes, so I don't expect anyone out there to really remember it. Look at Germany. It's a basket case because of immigration. Look at Sweden. Has become the rape capital of Europe. Look at the Netherlands. Look at Denmark. Look at France, and on and on and on. Now, Angela Merkel is what we here in America would call a liberal, which means she's not able to learn. She's opened the door to people who despise her and her fellow Germans, and she's fine with that. Germans aren't so fine because they're on the verge of turning Angela Merkel out of office. Of course, by then, untold damage will have been done. Like what? Like this from PJ Media. An ISIS-supporting media group threatened another Vegas-style massacre in a new propaganda image, yet zeroed in on a strip hotel other than the Mandalay Bay. The disbeliever West will see our power through the jihad of sincere people and the sacrifice of monotheists, says the message. We will be generous in shedding your dirty blood unless you embrace Islam or give the jizya. However, Las Vegas's massacre is not far from you. Unquote. Gee, you think we could bring more Muslims here? I mean, lots more. If this is the way they feel, if they despise us and want to kill us, and they're promising they're going to do so, do we really honestly need to bring more of them here, or should we be talking about having fewer of them here? Well, that's what we'd be talking about in a sane and rational society. We are far from that. So let's take a lesson from Her Highness Angela Merkel and look at the death blow she has struck against her own country. And let's be smarter here. Can we? Can we do that? Can we be smarter? Well, we elected Donald Trump, so we must have something on the ball. Let's work with that. We'll take a break. We'll come back, my friends. Real Truth does what it usually does. It marches on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Earth.
Well, it had to happen. When Colorado legalized marijuana, most people thought the Green Herb was a marijuana dispensary. Also, it was legalized on January the 1st, 2014. The same day we opened our new location at 4565 Kipling Street, 1.5 blocks south of I-70. There are 83,000 cars a day passing in front of our new location on Kipling Street, and most of them thought we were a marijuana dispensary. changed the name of our retail store to New Genesis Health, but we kept the name of our green herb supplements. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372. And be sure to listen to the Healthy Nature Show with Linda Phillips every Tuesday at 1 p.m.
Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." Chapter 1, verse 19 through 21.
The associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter in Lafayette line. No one anywhere is more noble, righteous, selfless, and courageous than our United States Armed Forces. These brave men and women and their families foot the bill for our freedom every day. Send a military care package today to let them know that they are in our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts. This message is from the associates at your 24-hour Walmart Supercenter on Highway 287 in Lafayette. They're on the air because they care.
My friends, let me get serious for a minute. One of the great heroes in America today, and you can see him every day for yourself, Sean Hannity on Fox News, who day after day, week after week, is hammering away at the swamp. And he's making tremendous progress, and we thank him because certainly none of the liberal media outlets are going to report this stuff, and they don't. And Fox does, and I give him tremendous credit. Here's Sean on his radio show. This is today or yesterday with Newt Gingrich talking about, yep, you want it, you got it, the secret society. Go.
Joining us now with his insights, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. There's a lot to absorb here, but as a historian, I've got to ask you to look at this from a modern-day perspective. You found a $1.5 million clap, apparently, a $5 million clap of Texas.
My friends, let me jump in here for a second, only because I've got to. When you go on TV, you hear intelligent, well-intentioned people saying, well, you know, this is the leadership in the FBI. The average FBI agent, they're good people, good men and women who only want the best. Well, wait a minute. This guy Strzok and his girlfriend Paige aren't average FBI agents. They're not the heads of the agency. They're people doing their jobs, and they're scum. So stop telling me how righteous the people at the FBI are, because I used to hear the same thing about Jim Comey. I used to hear the same thing about Robert Mueller. What stellar individuals they are politicians, which means they are scum. Back to Newt Gingrich.
Before she was interviewed, which might explain why the interview was not under oath, because the whole thing was a charade. It also suggests that the Attorney General left with President Clinton on that airplane in Arizona. They both already knew that he was going to advance and nothing was going to come of it. And now, however, they decide, look, 4.5 months. You know, kind of remember this meeting. fails of their standard. The most corrupt senior Justice Department and senior FBI you'll ever see in American history.
And my friends, the important takeaway, as Newt Gingrich says that, is that all these people were appointed by the Democrat president, Barack Obama. These are all Democrats and liberals. Now, they're allowed to lie and cheat and break the law because they're morally superior to us. Get it?
And it's great. I mean, you know what the people are supposed to enforce the law. They are engaged in a conspiracy to undermine the new president, to protect the Democratic nominee. There's some things that they're not going to possibly avoid of an independent counsel to look into this whole thing. That you're going to have Comey at risk, you're going to have the deputy that they're referring to, whose office in Indiana, whose wife had been candidate for the state senate, and I believe had $900,000 in donations from the Democrats. So the Republicans were very much for one of them accused himself of having involvement. He was just acting out with very embarrassing her. And every time we turn around in this case, something new comes out. And it's ironic that the organization is not under account. Apparently, real evidence is coming out of the Democrats. And you'll notice a lot of the text that is not lost is the one where Chuck says, if you really know how to do the other thing, then I know what to do with my job. It's not going to happen. There's nothing there. I mean, what about the fact that, what do you make of this secret society that they're discussing here? I don't know if they're discussing this stuff from page, but in the new text messages, I thought the text messages were posted.
All right, my friends, let's get a hold of this. Let's confront this head on. What about a secret society? Is there a secret society? Well, of course there is, and the secret is it's not secret. It's the swamp. Who do you think Donald Trump was talking about for over a year when he said he was going to drain the swamp? This is the swamp. The FBI, the CIA, other NSA, other intelligence agencies, colluding with politicians. This is the swamp. Let me introduce you. Swamp, meet Riell Truth listeners. Riell Truth listeners, allow me to introduce you to the swamp. It's no secret. Yes, these little rodent-like individuals like Strzok and Page, they meet privately and they lurk someplace in the shadows. But everybody knows these people, these types of people have existed. No president has ever had the guts to go after them. Donald Trump is going after them. Donald Trump is shining light on their nefarious deeds. Donald Trump is succeeding in bringing them down. And if that was the only thing Donald Trump accomplished, Americans would still owe him a tremendous debt of gratitude. This is the swamp. And this is what it looks like when it's exposed to daylight and slowly but surely drained. Shame on us for not holding previous presidents' feet to the fire and insisting that they drain the swamp. Of course, they were in league with the swamp. That's why they never did. Let's take a break and we'll come back, my friends. We'll finish it up here on Riell Truth.
One, two, five, or more different. Please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products, both with four of the most nutrient algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain comes with focus, memory, clarity, food, and you can increase brain health. The rest of the body is a no-brainer. Superfood has zero toxicity and is safe for you and your pet. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com. Spelled BioAge.com. BioAge. and of his fullness we have all received, and grace for grace. For the law was given through Moses, but grace and truth came through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten Son, who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 16. Elizabeth Locker Plan and Elizabeth reminds our listeners that the drug problem is well documented. We know our kids will be approached at early age. We want to applaud the youngsters in our community who have had the strength to say no to drugs. They provide examples to their peers and families to be the best they can be. That's from Elizabeth Locker Plant, located at 366 Grand Street in Elizabeth, serving our area since 1943 and specializing in naturalized aged beef and pork and complete custom processing. Call 303-688-2240. That's 303-688-2240.
All right, guys, I've been keeping you waiting throughout the hour. I apologize. You're wondering, how do you issue an injunction against the penis, right? That's what you've been thinking? Okay, here we go. From lawandcrime.com. In the nearly 2 decades I've been a lawyer, writes the author, I've seen a lot of crazy things in court documents, but this is the first time I've ever seen a plaintiff ask that a judge enjoin a defendant's penis. That's right. Plaintiff Monique Green, the young woman who accused rapper Nelly of raping her, filed an amended complaint in the Superior Court of Washington this week. In her filing, obtained by Law and Crime, Green added some disturbing background facts about Nelly's alleged pattern of sexual assault, and then made a rather unusual request for relief from the court. Quote, wherefore, plaintiff prays for judgment and relief against defendant Cornell Haynes Jr., that's Nelly, as follows. For an injunction against defendant Nelly and his penis that prohibits him from engaging in sexual assault against female fans after concerts using the unique methods and plans described above. Unquote. My friends, exactly what these unique methods and plans Mr. Haynes is using that got his penis thrown out of court, I don't even want to think about it. But now you've heard the item. Item from the Seattle Times. Starbucks is giving its U.S. workers pay raises and stock grants this year, citing recent changes to the tax law. Starbucks is the latest to say it's boosting pay or benefits due to the passage of the Republican tax plan, which slashed the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. Walmart, for example, raised its starting hourly wage from $9 to $11 earlier this month and also expanded its parental leave benefits. Stop! My friends, you remember Starbucks, don't you? You remember last year there were cases all over the country where people went into Starbucks and when they were asked, what name do you want on your cup, they said Trump, and they were thrown out. They refused service to people who were Trump supporters. Well, now it's a year later and there's more money going into Starbucks employees' pockets, and now listen, you listen. I don't hear anyone throwing Trump supporters out of Starbucks places anymore. In fact, if I did hear the voices upraised of Starbucks employees, I would hope they'd be saying something along the lines of, thank you, President Trump. Item from the Free Beacon. Liberal billionaire George Soros spent more on lobbying during President Donald Trump's first year in office than he has in any previous year, disclosure forms show. Unquote. My friends, I don't know it for a fact, but I've heard it on TV many times, that Soros is the one who funds Antifa, which is those bastards in black with the face masks that go around beating people up and smashing windows. Well, if that's true, and again, I don't know if it's true, but if it's true, why isn't the good Mr. Soros in manacles now? If he's paying people to go out and break the law, he needs to be in a cell. Why hasn't it happened? I know you're thinking, come on, no one's going to arrest a billionaire. My friends, Washington, D.C., the swamp is filled with people who can't wait to arrest a billionaire. Guy by the name of Donald Trump. Well, they're chasing their tails. When it comes to George Soros, who's paying people to hurt other people, I think justice needs to be done. I will be back tomorrow, my friends, with more real truth. Remember what I always tell you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay angry. Hasta luego.